going from the old self to the new self, I call that crossing the river of change. Because the hardest part about change is not making the same choices you did the day before. And the moment you're not going to think the same way, make the same choice that leads to the same behavior, that creates the same experience, that produces the same emotion, you are not going to feel like yourself. It's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel unfamiliar. There's going to be a certain amount of uncertainty. You are going to feel the state of unpredictability. And that's the moment you step into the river of change. And the moment you step into the river of change, then that discomfort means you're in the unknown. And so the body, which has been conditioned to the mind, who's been living in the past, would rather hold on to the guilt, because at least it's familiar. They'd rather hold on to their own emptiness and unworthiness than not feel that, because that's the unknown. So people cling to the familiar, and it transcends rationality. So then, the moment you step into that river and the body has become the mind, the body starts sending signals back to the brain because it wants to return back to the familiar self. And this is when we start to hear all the chatter, the sub-vocalizations. You're not good enough. You're too much like your mother. It's your ex-husband's fault. Start tomorrow. This doesn't feel good. What's wrong with me? I want to kill myself. That's the body saying, I don't want to go in the unknown. I don't trust the unknown. I'd rather hold on to this. Now, going from that old self to the new self is the biological, the neurological, the chemical, the hormonal, the genetic death of the old self. And most people, they step out into that unknown and it feels so uncomfortable, they can't predict it, they return back to the known. People say to me, well, I can't predict my future. And I always say to them, well, the best way to predict your future is to create it, not from the known, but from the unknown. And that void, that unknown, is the perfect place to create from. Now, why is this dangerous? Because when you're living in survival 70% of the time, there's better chances in survival from running from the unknown than embracing the unknown, right? If there's a predator out there, you hear something around the corner and you can't see it, that's an unknown. You're going to run. You're not going to go, and it's not a time to trust. It's not a time to open your heart. It's not a time to communicate. Here, kitty, kitty. It's not a time to do that. It's time to run. You'll never trust the unknown in that state. So if people are living by these emotional states of survival, they're never going to want to step out into the unknown because they can't predict the future, so they'd rather hold on to what they have. Turns out that those emotions of stress are highly addictive. They give us a rush of adrenaline, rush of energy. And so people use the problems and conditions in their lives to reaffirm their addiction to that emotion so they can remember who they are as a somebody. So then, if your thoughts can turn on the stress response, and those stress chemicals are addictive, then we become addicted to our own thoughts. So then stepping out into that unknown is where true greatness happens, because that's where the person begins to say, what thoughts do I want to fire and wire in my brain? What behaviors will I want to demonstrate in my new life? Can I rehearse them in my mind? And the mere process of mental rehearsal, this is neuroscience now, begins to install the circuits in your brain to look like the experience has already occurred. You're priming your brain into the map of the future instead of the record of the past. And then the true person who's in the process of transformation will say, can I teach my body emotionally what that future is going to be like? Can I begin to embrace the joy of my new life? And their body, as their unconscious mind, begins to believe it's in the future instead of in the past. Now, that process is not an overnight process. We don't jump from the old self to the new self. It requires that continuous process of changing our biology. But I can tell you, in observing people who have healed themselves of very serious health conditions, who've healed themselves of some pretty difficult scars from the past, who've overcome addictions, who've created new opportunities and new jobs and new relationships and a new life, had to cross that river. And that is when they're literally, from a biological standpoint, a new personality. And your personality creates your personal reality. That's it. And your personality is made of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. So the present personality who's sitting here today has created the present personal reality called their life. Which means then, if you want to create a new personal reality, you got to change your personality. And that means you got to start thinking about what you've been thinking about and change it. Look at your unconscious habits and behaviors, what you say, what you do, and become conscious of it and change them. And look at the emotions that have kept you anchored to the past and decide if those emotions belong in your future. And I think the biggest problem is that most people try to create a new personal reality as the same personality, and it doesn't work. So then as we begin to demystify this, and the person starts to say, oh my God, the disease that I have is because it's connected to this personality. Is it possible that if I change my personality, just like a person with a multiple personality disorder, who has an allergy to nylon stockings in one personality and type 1 diabetes in another, is it possible then if I change my personality, that the disease exists in the old personality and I'm literally someone else? Is it possible then from a biological standpoint that they're healed and changed? So to answer the question, it's difficult because we're breaking out of a biological mold. It's difficult because most people don't know that they have. Within their reach, all the tools to do it, because they have, number 3, been conditioned on some level to believe that the new hairstyle or the new type of beer they're going to drink or the sports car or whatever it is going to change their state. And that's the hypnosis. And when I wrote The Placebo, You Are the Placebo, the biggest thing that I walked away with after writing that book was how hypnotized and programmed we really are. And that's bothered me ever since I wrote the book, because people watch things in their external environment and they accept, believe, and surrender to that information without any analysis, and they're programmed. And so when you and I start waking up and saying no to those programs, and we start to think that we're maybe a little bit more unlimited than we're given credit for, and it's not driven for profits or self-interest, but when people start to wake up and say, hey, you know, I healed myself of this condition, I healed myself of Parkinson's, I healed myself of lupus, I've healed myself of cancer, I've healed myself of rheumatoid arthritis, I've healed myself of chronic pain, I healed myself of food allergies. Hey, yeah, I was abused as a child, yeah, that's right, I was beat up by a violent father, and I lived in vulnerability and fear for the last 25 years, but that fear has signaled the wrong gene, and I developed this genetic condition. The doctors said I had no way of healing. But when I overcame that fear and I broke out of it, I started to signal new genes in new ways, and that disease doesn't exist. Let me tell you, if you listen to that woman's story, and you listen to all the trials that she had gone through, and how she overcame herself, and she reached a place of such wholeness and self-satisfaction that she could care less if she had the disease, and that's the moment it went away, and you listen to that story, it's going to give you permission on some level that it's possible for you to do the same. You see someone dance the salsa well, you'll dance the salsa better. You see someone hit a golf ball like Rory, you'll hit a golf ball better. You see someone lead with love and compassion in their life, you will lead with love and compassion in your life. You see someone stand on a stage in front of 500 people and talk about how they overcame their cancer after their husband committed suicide, and the 3 years that it took her to do it. You will be inspired that it's possible for you. So then it has to start with a new consciousness, and that it's going to come from common people doing the uncommon, and that's where my passion is. We do have beliefs that feel good to us because those beliefs are based on past experiences, and those emotions keep us attached to the belief chemically. It's in our biology, and we tend to think neurologically and feel chemically within experiences then that are connected to the past. So when our beliefs are challenged, we hold on to the emotion, like Jesus had a brother. What? That doesn't feel right. He was married to Mary Magdalene. What? I mean, people freak out because they've been conditioned, and they want to hold on to that because that then ensures a future that they can rely on. When you step out of your belief systems and stepping into the unknown, you are now leaving behind your past. And then do you have the faculty and the ability to create? Do you have that ability? If not, because then in order for you to go from that old belief to a new belief, then you better have a plan, and you better be willing to have a new experience that is no longer a wishy-washy belief. It has to be a very strong impression in your biology. It comes with an accompanying experience that then changes your biology to understand you believe something else.
I really hope you loved this video and it was helpful. So please help me make it more popular by giving your thumbs up, commenting it and sharing on the social networks with your friends. And now it's time for our daily Complete the Quote challenge. If you are new to this, your job is to complete the inspiring quote we choose for you and write the correct answer in comments below the video. If you can give us the right answer first, you're the winner of this daily challenge. So far you are very successful, most of you knew the right answers. That's not a surprise, the most quotes belongs to Dr. Joe Dispenza, and you all are familiar with Joe's work. In the previous video we also had a quote that belongs to Joe Dispenza. We were looking for two words. The quote goes like this: gratitude becomes the emotional signature that it's already had. Gratitude is the ultimate state, and the correct answer was of receiving. So, gratitude becomes the emotional signature that it's already happened. Gratitude is the ultimate state of receiving. Congratulations to everyone with the correct answer, and to everyone who tried but didn't guess the answer. Today we also have the quote from Dr. Joe Dispenza. The quote goes like this: "The mere process of contemplating who you want to be begins to change." So we are missing for two words. If you know the correct answer, write it down in the comment section. Even if you're not sure what the correct answer is, try and guess, and find the right answer in the next video. If you like this video and our challenge, give your thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Spread the word. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button. By doing that, you'll get noted when my new video and new challenge is out. If you really like what we do here and want to support us, you can join our channel and our community for a symbolic fee and gain many other additional features. You can do that by clicking the join button next to the subscribe button, or you can click on the link in the description of this video. Stay good and have a great day.